For professional advice with a personal touch, consult FL Fuller Landau, Chartered Professional Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
Welcome to today's Entrepreneur, a program about the entrepreneurial spirit that drives Quebec business. My name is Dan Delmar, along with FL Fuller Landau's Josh Miller. Good evening, Josh.
Hello, Dan.
And this evening on the program, we're going to chat about a very popular local fashion brand. We'll be joined by Manny Colley, President and CEO of Matt&Nat, which is the handbag that a few of my girlfriends in the last decade have sworn by.
All vegan all the time. There is no animals killed at all. He's really built that niche, and that's the market he's targeting. And absolutely super beautiful product.
Looks like leather too. I've got to ask him about what the bag's made of. It's so interesting. On the way, but first, look at a bit of entrepreneurial news of the week, and we'll also give a shout out to students out there, especially Dawson students, because both of us will be making an appearance at Dawson E-Week, which is Entrepreneur Week, coming up later this month.
And it's really Entrepreneur Week.
Next month, sorry.
Next month, yeah. It's the week of November 14th. And it's Entrepreneurship Week, not only at Dawson, but it's E-Week. There's activities actually in different schools and universities and colleges actually around the world. And in Montreal, Dawson has taken this on and has a great E-Week. And it's basically filled with entrepreneurs that just talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, kind of like we do here, Dan.
Yeah, so if you're a Dawson student and like our show or like entrepreneurship in general, we'll be there from the 14th to the 16th. I'll be moderating a panel on the 16th called Digital Trailblazers with 4 local Montrealers who have had incredible success online. Kevin Coury, Jeremy Shockey, Connor Clark, and Wolf Kohlberg.
And on Thursday night, I'll be judging Dawson's Den, kind of like Dragon's Den, but Dawson's Den. So we get the young minds that come up with some great entrepreneurial and social responsibility ideas and judge and give out some prizes.
Excellent. So head over to Dawson's website for more information on that. And in the news this week, more and more talk about co-working spaces. I found this is really this is how we got started at my company, really, because we couldn't afford rent at first. We couldn't afford to have a full office, and this is something that I think a lot of millennial entrepreneurs face. Tough times, especially to get out of the startup mode, and sometimes cutting down on your rent could be a big help.
And I think it's not just about saving on the rent. I mean, that's a big part of it. Usually, a lot of people are bootstrapping and really don't have that much to spend on any extra peripherals. But it's not just about saving the money. It's about collaboration. It's about if you're in an office space with other entrepreneurs and other businesses and maybe some competition, but most of the time it's not really a lot of competition. It's more, other companies that either like companies or you could use them or you feed off each other. I think it's the collaborative nature of these co-work sharing spaces that's awesome. I know our RP Visio division, we have a space at WeWork, and it's absolutely amazing the great number, the openness of the other entrepreneurs around and the willingness to listen and share and do. No question that it's a business development aspect as well. For us, it's certainly more about the business development and the collaboration than it is about finding a cheaper space. But there's no question that for startups, that's an aspect as well. It's also different co-work sharing spaces. You don't know, some of them will offer secretarial services, some will just offer space themselves. But at least it's better than inviting somebody to your basement and saying, let's meet there, or constantly going to Starbucks.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more professional. It's a little bit more business-like. And I think it's super attractive in many ways.
And some of them are really gorgeous too. I mean, it looks like a real office, and you can take someone to your private area, and for what is between $250, as little as $250 a month, you can get a decent workspace.
Absolutely. And it certainly depends where you are, because there's spaces, there's probably, I don't know if I've done the count lately, but I think there's probably about 60, 70 or so different co-work sharing spaces and companies around town. There's lots to be had, and definitely at different prices.
Yeah, and some have beautiful locations too, so check that out. A startup program that's sort of like dating, but for setting up entrepreneurs.
This is a not-for-profit organization that I read about, and what they're really trying to do is it's for startup companies. But startup companies always look for talent. They always look for, okay, maybe not the most expensive talent, because as we were just talking about, they sometimes need to save some money. Somebody started a talent agency or recruiting, but a not-for-profit that educates university students on entrepreneurial matters, focuses in or targets in on their specialty, whether it's marketing or finance or what have you, whatever they're studying, and then connects them with startup companies. I think that for the fight for talent today, I think it's an amazing idea. Now, are you getting somebody with a great deal of experience? No, but you're getting somebody that has a good education. You'll certainly pay them a little less. They will get educated. They will get educated in the startup community, and it could be a great launching pad or starting point to build your team if you're a startup.
In the Financial Post, interesting profile of Bartesian, which is one of the businesses that was featured on Dragon's Den. They are described as sort of the Keurig of cocktails.
Pods. Everybody has coffee pods, right? Why not drink pod? Why not cocktail pods? And that's where they're coming from. So it's don't think about all the mixes. It's just a cocktail pod that goes into it. Now, of course, it's a machine that has your different alcohols or spirits that go into it. But there's also a pod that it reads, and they're trying to automate drinks. Listen, everybody drinks coffee, and most people drink spirits. We've had a few on the show, and there's no question that it's desirable. And people don't want to think. They don't always want to go to recipe books. They don't always want to grind their beans for coffee, just like they don't necessarily want to. So I think it's a very interesting aspect. And it actually makes probably a cool high-end gift. There's always somebody that's going to look for this unique gift. Well, you know what? Welcome cocktail machine. Put it right next to your Nespresso or Keurig or what have you, and you can just be automated all the time. Push of a button drinks.
Yeah, seriously. Isn't there a better way? And apparently there is. Let's go to this piece from the Financial Post. Choosing not to pursue growth can be a business's death sentence. Why do you think so many entrepreneurs choose to grow very conservatively and not to be aggressive with their business?
I think it's staying safe. I think people get comfortable. Dan, we've spoken with a lot of entrepreneurs here, and one word that constantly comes up is reinventing yourself. And the entrepreneurs that we have interviewed, and they're pretty successful. They've all, if they've been around long enough, have changed their path a little bit, have not rested on their laurels, have not stayed with their product or service, but they've always tweaked it. They've always improved it. They've always adjusted it to the market based on what's coming and the vision. And I think if you don't do that, well, there's only so long you'll exist, because things change, things move all the time. And if you're going to fall behind somebody else, there's competition out there, somebody else is going to come up and grab that business. So if you don't reinvent yourself, if you don't change constantly, then there is no way that your business can survive forever.
And the example cited in the piece is well, they've said it a couple of companies, but one is called Global Live Communications. And any thoughts on them? Why they were highlighted in the piece?
Well, they were. I think it's more about they were talking about the team around them, and the team is always spitballing, always brainstorming, and trying to get into new areas. And I think the collaborative effort, as we were talking about before, with the co-work sharing and spaces and all that, that's where it's coming up. But you're in the media game, Dan, and technology has certainly changed. So there's no question that if you don't change with the times, if you don't change with technology, you'll be stuck with an aging clientele and at some point the way of the dodo.
And by change, you mean constantly change, all the time, nonstop, especially with tech. I mean, I just blinked and my website was already updated. So
yeah. Dan, provocateur, you live and breathe it all day long. So I'm sure you know how it feels.
It's getting colder. So Quebec companies now, of course, are marketing their winter gear. And there's one new player on the market.
And this is, they're really taking advantage of the environment and taking advantage of natural fibers. Milkweed. Who's ever heard of milkweed? It's but you've heard of monarch butterflies. Mm-hmm. And butterflies, they feast on this milkweed. So they have determined that milkweed makes for a great insulator. And they started making jackets by focusing and harnessing and processing milkweed. So it's not down, it's not foam, it's not whatever they put into jackets, they're doing milkweed. So I think the story here, or the lesson here, is there is a phenomenal environment around us, and just think about it and use what's around, and you can absolutely make something unique and build a niche.
We didn't have a chance to get to the fetish wear story and that emerging industry, but we'll save that one for next week. Maybe.
Perfect.
Today's Entrepreneur on CJAD. Coming up next, we'll chat with Mandy Coley, President and CEO of Matt&Nat.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult FL Fuller Landau, Chartered Professional Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
Inspiring stories from outstanding business people, Dan Delmar and FL Fuller Landau's Josh Miller with you for today's Entrepreneur. And this evening we welcome to the studio the President and CEO of Matt&Nat, Mandy Coley. Mandy, welcome to today's Entrepreneur.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I was saying off the top, congratulations for creating a really great product because several of my ex-girlfriends have used it on a regular basis. Tell me about the kind of products you make at Matt&Nat.
He glossed over being ex-girlfriends, of course. So, but
That's
we won't
another
go
show.
So Matt&Nat is a vegan accessory brand. So we have handbags and wallets. And we just launched as well the vegan shoes line, Spring 16. And it's growing rapidly.
Now, when did Matt&Nat start? How long ago was that?
So I started in 1997 with my ex-partner. He started a company. That was his school. In the school, he started that. And then we grew together in 2000. I came in the company with all my experience. I was, 19 years old when I had my first business. So I came in 2000 and brought all my, bright ideas and never looked back.
Was your first business, Manny, in fashion and apparel as well?
Actually, now you'll be shocked to hear it was actually electronic.
Of course, a natural fit from electronics to vegan apparel product. So, why vegan? Like, was there a reason was that your partner that started this and you continued the path?
Exactly, he did. Actually, he became vegetarian first. And then he became vegan. And so I joined him in 2000 and I became vegetarian. And a year later, I'll become vegan too.
Now, were you complementary? I mean, you came from an electronics background. He's in this business that he started out from school. Were your roles complementary? Did you overlap? No
did
overlap.
You share? He was looking after design and marketing. I was looking after, everything else, financing, logistics, and importing from the Orient. So I'm looking after A to Z everything, yeah.
And did you, I guess when you were together, and there wasn't too many employees at first, right? It was a small company?
It was three of us. And so I was doing, and him, we were doing everything by ourselves.
Did you have a vision? Was there a business plan? Did you go in with real kind of a set plan? Or did you just kind of ride by the seat of your pants?
So that's what I did when I came in the company. So we sat and talked. And so we put a plan together and we really work on according to the plan. And next 6 months, we looked at the plan and worked on it and made it.
Do you still use, maybe not a business plan, but do you still use forecasts and projections today?
I think they're very important. We definitely look at it. And we all the projections and goals are very, very important.
More with Mandy Coley. We'll talk about marketing, HR, and lots more on the program.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult FL Fuller Landau, Chartered Professional Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
Welcome back to today's Entrepreneur, presented by FL Fuller Landau, a program about the entrepreneurial spirit that drives Quebec business. My name is Dan Delmar, along with FL's Josh Miller, and this evening we're chatting with Mandy Coley, President and CEO of the Montreal-based Matt&Nat, fashion designer. They make very popular handbags, among other things. And Josh, we're doing the Dawson Entrepreneurial Week next week, and another announcement. There's a big FL event coming up about. We can't say the full name.
Can't say the full name. It's about failure stories.
Yeah.
It's a great, it's a P Visio by FL event, one of our divisions. We'll call it F Up Nights or Foul Up Nights or Fudge Up Nights. I think the listener can figure out what the actual name is. But really, this is to bring entrepreneurs together and learn from other entrepreneurs' failure stories. And it's something that's done in 1,000 cities around the world. It hasn't been done in Montreal just yet. So we're getting a group together with Cometa. That's a great marketing firm, as well as Le Salon. And of course the gentleman that does Creative Mornings, Louis Félix Binet. It's going to be great. November 15th is going to be our first night at Le Salon. Stay tuned online on all the social media platforms. But speaking of foul ups or F ups, we'll turn to Manny and say, Manny, can you, in the history of the business, I'm sure there's been some ups and downs. Can you think of one perhaps failure that you can tell us about and what you learned from it?
We have few ups and downs, but one I'm going to talk about is in 2008. We were at the peak, and then in 2009, I and our ex-partner made a huge, a wrong step we took, and the company 2011 went down to very bottom.
What was that step?
The step the whole collection changed. And it went to a higher price point, and then the 2010, we all know that recession hit globally as well. And so the decision we made, it was a wrong timing, actually. So then in 2011, 2012, business really went down a lot.
And you would say it was a decision of price point, whether it was a prestige pricing or trying to get into that higher market. And did you at that point abandon some of the lower priced items?
We 100% the collection went to double the price point, actually. Wrong timing. And the customer who were core for Matt&Nat, who were buying, the beautiful bag at $125 retail, and the next season, the same bag with different hardware, different fabric went to $250. They were completely shocked to see how come is double the price point. So that made a huge impact. The sales really went down a lot, and we went to very, very low.
Did you then really retrench and say, okay, we're not going out of business, but we really have to go back to basics and come back out with our original price point and who we are?
So 2012, we changed the strategy again and brought our core collection, great price point, beautiful colors, and after that, we never looked back. Today, a business is all-time high. From 12 today, we have 14 together at the office, 14 employees today. I shouldn't say employees. We'll call them partners. Without great partner, you cannot grow the business.
No, and I think that's awesome. Now, when you've been in e-commerce, you're wholesale, but you've also started to go into retail. Now, not everybody makes the switch very easily. There's a lot of people that understand their wholesale, they understand their import and their manufacturing. They don't necessarily understand the retail side of it. What was your thought process in trying to be that much more vertical?
So the retail, we took the season after almost 18 to 20 years. Retail we did just for brand awareness. We opened actually our first store March 2016. I didn't know what to expect, but it's really doing well. And now we are middle of opening a second store in this Toronto. I'll be ready on the 25th of October. It's going to be 1,500 square feet store, beautiful store. I'm very excited to launch it.
Were you worried to your existing customers, because you're selling to retailers and now you're opening up your own retail? Do you worry about the fallout from your existing retail customers saying, why are you competing with us?
Actually, there was some concern, but again, I was very positive way. I told them that we're doing that for brand awareness only, no necessity to make some money. It's just for brand awareness.
So, but the pricing is not a concern. You always make sure that you certainly don't undercut your customers.
We do not cut our customers' prices. We do not go on sale frequently. We are on sale only very rarely, so we respect the retail prices, we respect everything, and we make sure that we don't cut their prices.
Now it's a natural, it's a vegan product. It's natural. It's synthetic. Tell us a little bit about where you get your components or how you get it, and is it, are you getting it from China? Is it local? What's been your experience with your suppliers?
So we use two different materials, PVC and PU, and it's made PVC made in China, and PU, which is we love, that is an environment friendly actually, and that is made in Taiwan. Very, very high quality.
Doing business overseas, is that something that you learned from your electronic side of the business, or did you learn that as you were growing up through Matt&Nat?
Actually, for the electronic side business.
It's certainly a different aspect to deal with. From a logistics side, is that something that you have that has changed over the years? That have you found any challenges in the logistics and getting goods here?
Not really. I mean, we've been doing this for a very, very long time. So experience make huge difference. So at this moment, actually, there's hardly any challenge for importing the goods. We have a logistic department. They handle everything A to Z.
Now, just quickly, I know we don't have too much time to talk about it, but you briefly referred to your partners, your team members, you're not calling them your staff or your employees. What do you do differently with them? Why do they like to stay and work with you at Matt&Nat?
So we have HR department now, but I like to sit in the interview, and I always say that I'm not here to bring you as an employee. I'm here to bring you as a partner. You come and work hard. The company grow, you'll grow with us. So we have a profit sharing. So we have profit sharing from somewhere from 1% to 3% of their salary they get every year.
Is that something that's been around a long time or more recent?
I started in 2013, and it's ongoing process.
I think it's certainly, Dan, we don't hear about too many profit sharing aspects or stories from our entrepreneurs, but it certainly involves them and brings them in and does make them feel like partners in this whole process. Manny, I know there's lots to talk about, but I also want to talk about marketing, and we're going to switch gears soon. When we come back after the break, we'll talk with Manny about marketing. We'll talk with Natalie about marketing. Dan, you are also in marketing. I'm going to be the only one not talking about marketing.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult FL Fuller Landau, Chartered Professional Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
Inspiring stories from outstanding business people. Dan Delmar and FL Fuller Landau's Josh Miller with you. Our guest this evening is Manny Coley, President and CEO of Matt&Nat. We'll have his one piece of advice for today's entrepreneur in just a moment. But first, we welcome Natalie Riviere, Marketing Specialist with FL's P-Visio division. Natalie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
And we're going to talk about marketing, particularly digital marketing.
Certainly, and there's no question, it's great you guys, between Natalie and Dan, you guys do this day in and day out. But for and Manny too. Manny is so involved in his marketing aspect of his business. But there's so many entrepreneurs that either don't understand or maybe find it a little bit challenging, or say, you know what, it's a website or social media. Snap my fingers and make it happen. There's definitely much more that goes into it. So Natalie, when you're talking with an entrepreneur and you're trying to educate them a little bit, what are the challenges you find, or what are maybe the aspects that they don't fully grasp but maybe need to?
I think you nailed it by saying that it is an education, because we don't learn this in schools and we're not really taught how the internet works, how we can take our place in it. So it really starts with how literally technically you even get on from websites. It's not a regulated industry. So what tools are you using to then how to promote them and get traffic? It doesn't just stop with the website once it's made, and that in itself is an enormous process. There must be
big revelations, that entrepreneurs say, oh, I didn't realize you had to do that, or I didn't realize I had to be involved. A lot of people, content is king, right?
Right.
So the entrepreneurs must have their aha moments when you sit and say, no, don't forget you have to do ABC.
Yeah, I think content will literally like separate or make or break the deal, from actually getting online. Not everyone even makes the cut of getting their content together, because for me, I got involved in websites using it almost to replace business plans, because you have to know, like, who are you, why are you, what are you, and how. So what are you offering, how are you exchanging it, and about you.
Do you see common weak in all the the sites and the social media posts and all that you deal with a number of entrepreneurs? Do you see common weaknesses, just people that just miss things all the time?
100%. And it kind of breaks my heart, but basically websites, we have a tool where 100% of the population goes, and that's search engines. And so it's great to have a website, but if your website's not found or friendly to search engines, then you might have gone through all that work to get the content together, to put it live, made it happen, but it's invisible virtually to where everyone's looking to connect with you. And so that is a big part of the education as well, and a big piece that unfortunately a lot of people aren't aware of or miss the mark on.
Manny, how important is SEO, search engine optimization, to your business?
It's really important to bring people on your site. SEO is important, but I would say today, the digital marketing or the media, the Snapchat and the Instagram is the most important today. It's like...
Does it matter? Does it matter regardless of your business? I have to think that some social media platforms are better for certain businesses than others, and I don't know if maybe Natalie, you see that certain, because there's so many. It's not just the Facebook and the LinkedIn and the Twitter. It's the Instagram, it's Snapchat, it's Google Plus, what have you. So are there some that fit? Different profiles, different types of businesses?
100%. Definitely fashion. Instagram would go very well with that. Opening any of your retail places or your showrooms. Snapchat can be an exciting way to let people in on what's going on. I do think some are unavoidable, or everyone needs to be on them. And again, I usually tell entrepreneurs that they need to do social at the base for search engine optimization, because you get found for your social profiles before you get found for your website. So the ones that I think everyone really needs to be on would be Facebook, Twitter, 100%, LinkedIn, and I throw Google Plus in there because Google's biased to its own search engine, or its own platform actually. So.
And don't forget, for every social network you join, it creates a page, which creates just another advertising opportunity on a Google or on any search engine. So even if you're not going to maintain it a whole lot, it's still important to have it.
Agreed. And literally, you want to maintain it to the point that you're managing your search engine reputation. So I find you through a Google search, I get to your Facebook page. As a consumer, I'm going to judge that based on a customer service experience. So when's the last time you posted? What are you talking about? How do I feel being there? That's probably going to give me an idea of how I'm going to feel working with you.
Regardless, whatever you choose, whatever platform you go on, it's about planning. It's about thinking. It's not just about closing your eyes and painting everything everywhere. So I think it's about the plan. And I think if there's something to take away from this, there's no question. It's go in eyes wide open, think, just don't just do.
And the most important is to be consistent. Very important.
Natalie Riviere, marketing specialist with PVZO. Thanks very much for joining us.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
And coming up next, we'll have Manny's one piece of advice for today's entrepreneur.
For professional advice with a personal touch, consult FL Fuller Landau, Chartered Professional Accountants and Business Advisors. Click on flmontreal.com.
Josh, we're back in 2 weeks from tonight.
3 weeks.
3 weeks on today's Entrepreneur. You're going to go to Hong Kong.
I'm off to Hong Kong and
bring
Shanghai.
Back some stories with you.
There's lots of stories. Things change so rapidly over there.
Mm-hmm. Let's end with
China. I think that was. I don't do the Alec Baldwin well, but China.
Donald Trump is off to China.
Hong Kong, my favorite.
Donald Trump's dismay. Let's end the show with the one piece of advice.
And so, Manny, what would be your one piece of advice for today's entrepreneur?
Well, actually, I have always say 3 successful rules everyone should adopt. So dedication and hard work, focus on developing yourself, perfection. So these are the 3 basic rules.
And for me, the quick takeaway, Dan, is niche businesses. You focus in one area, you do it super well, and be known for it. And it's like, any boutique, you're bound to do well.
Thanks very much, Manny Coley, President and CEO of Matt&Nat. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks also to Natalie Riviere from PVisio, and, well, to you, Josh. We'll see you in 3 weeks. Have fun. And the Night Side, Force of Habit, is next on CJD.